This is 911 location of your emergency. Hello?
Am I talking to Iowa City?
No, this is what is the location of your emergency?
Iowa City, Iowa.
What's the address, ma'am?
629 Barrington Road. Please go there immediately.
What's going on there?
Little did that 911 operator know that Steven Supple had just murdered his wife and his 4 children. 10-year-old Ethan, 9-year-old Seth, 5-year-old Myra, and 3-year-old Eleanor. He made that call as he was driving, doing about 80 or 90 miles an hour down the Interstate 80. And within only but a few minutes after that call, he would crash his car into a barrier, killing himself instantly. By the time firefighters arrived and put out the fire in that minivan, he was unrecognizable. They had to identify him using dental records. At the time, 42-year-old Steven Supple was the vice president of the Hills Bank and Trust here in Iowa City. They had adopted 4 children from South Korea, and before the children's adoptions, Cheryl was a local school teacher here in the district. And the Supple name is quite well known within the business community here in Iowa City. His brother is a successful business owner, and Steven's father and brother are partners in a very prestigious law firm here in town. However, the Supples' lives would be turned upside down on October 4th of 2007. In the early morning hours of that day, as the Supple family were sleeping, the SWAT team here with detectives for the Iowa City Police Department come to their home at 629 Barrington Road and start pounding on the door very, very loudly, waking up the family. Immediately, Steven comes downstairs. He opens the door and he sees a bunch of guys with a bunch of guns telling him to get his hands up, turn around, and put his hands against the wall. These cops mean business. They got a search warrant. Steven had just been indicted on an embezzlement count. He was charged with embezzling almost $560,000 from his job. They take him down to the station and they book him on the embezzlement count. He sits in jail until he's able to post bail for $250,000. February 20th, 2008, Steven goes to court where he is arraigned on his charges. So apparently for the previous 6 or 7 years, Steven had been stealing money from his job. Now, they hadn't noticed at first until later on when he started making bigger and bigger withdrawals from the people's accounts that he was entrusted with managing. So he bails out of jail, he gets out, and of course he is fired from his job. You have 4 kids and neither parent has a job. He would later go on, I believe, to get a job with a concrete company in the area. Now, according to his attorney, Steven had said that he had developed a drug problem and was using cocaine and was stealing the money to fund his habit, along with having an addiction to gambling. However, when detectives raided the family home, they didn't find one bit of any evidence suggesting that he was using drugs. His attorney believes that that possibly was a lie, which it was, because he would later recant that and basically said he stole the money to help support his family's lifestyle. Now, this isn't a very fancy neighborhood. It's pretty quiet. It is upper middle class, but these people, they're driving an older Toyota Sienna minivan. These people are not throwing money up in the air like they're rich. But of course, the rigors of raising 4 children on a single family income quickly would get Steven Supple to start stealing money just to pay for whatever it is that the family needs. So you got the mounting stress of a possible prison sentence, which, you know, he's looking at the maximum, and this is just the maximum, 30 years in prison, a $1 million fine. Now, Steven, his family, they're attorneys, so he's probably not going to have to pay any attorney fees to represent him in court. However, more than likely, he is probably going to be doing quite a bit of time in prison. Now, my guess is if he doesn't have a criminal record, which I was pretty sure he did not, at the maximum, he's probably looking at maybe a 5-year prison sentence. Maybe he'll do 3.5 off of that. He can get out, rectify himself, change, make a better person out of himself. He could take a negative and turn it into a positive. But there's very dark and evil intentions in Steven's mind, and he feels that right now there's no way out of an inevitable prison sentence. So there's only one thing that he could possibly do to spare his family the grief and the shame of their father having to go to prison. He decides that he's going to kill his family. So on March 23rd, 2008, Easter Sunday evening, the family goes to church. Everything seems fine. Nobody notices anything out of the ordinary. And the family comes to this home, which is where they used to live. And that evening, Steven takes a baseball bat and beats his wife to death with it. And he would take his children and take them in the van into this garage right here, and he would let the car run, hoping to asphyxiate himself and his 4 children. When that doesn't work, he leads the children in separate rooms, takes them upstairs, and one by one beats them to death with a baseball bat. Finally going downstairs and finishing off the youngest 3-year-old, Eleanor. And this home was once where a family of 6 lived. And right now it is for sale. It looks like the asking price is $499,000. It's a 3.5 bath, 5-bedroom home, 3,200 square feet. It was built in 2000. And this is a pretty notorious address. So I'm not really sure how long it's going to be on the market. I don't know if people are going to want to buy a home knowing that 5 innocent lives were brutally murdered in one of the worst ways you can kill somebody, in my personal opinion. Their children used to play out on this front yard. There was a bit of controversy after the murders were committed and after Steven crashed his vehicle, taking his own life. And that is because Steven was given a Catholic burial alongside of his family that he murdered. And this is the Supple family resting place. buried next to her killer. She would have been 6 the following day. And the baby. I don't know why the family decided to bury them all together, but to die in a way where your protector and your provider, when you cry, when you fell down accidentally trying to learn how to ride a bicycle, the man that would comfort you and console you, the man that provided food on the table for his family, was the one that they seen terror in their eyes as he inflicted a brutal murder times 5 on the one person that they trusted the most.